Here's the promised video to help you with your test corrections. The example for number 4. In this problem, you were supposed to evaluate the expression. So here we're going to evaluate for x equals -2. Let's first talk about the steps in evaluating. The first thing that we're going to need to do is to substitute -2 for x. So let's do that. So that gives us -5 plus 3 times -2 squared. Now we need to use PEMDAS to figure out what operation to do next. Because we have exponents, we're going to do exponents first. So -2 squared. Remember, that means multiply -2 times itself. -2 times -2 is +4. The next operation we want to do is multiply. Multiply 3 times 4, that's 12. Forgot to bring down my negative on the 5. Now we want to do the last operation, which is add. -5 plus 12 is +7. Here's our example for number 5. The first thing we will do is distribute the -3 in the first set of parentheses. Since the second set of parentheses does not have a number in front of it, we will put in a 1. Then we will distribute the 1 through that set of parentheses. So our first step is going to be to distribute. -3 times x is -3x. -3 times -6 is +18. -1 times 4x is -4x. -1 times 5 is -5. The next step is to combine like terms. And before we combine, we're just going to go ahead and rewrite the equation so that the like terms are together. So we have 2 terms with x, and we have 2 terms without a variable. Now we will combine like terms. So -3x minus 4x, or we could say -3x plus -4x would give us -7x. 18 minus 5, or we could say 18 plus -5 would give us +13. Example 10, Mark is buying a pair of sunglasses that is 25% off the regular price. The regular price is $P. Write an expression that represents the sale price of the glasses. The way we talked about this in class was to think of the regular price or the full price as 100% of the price. Paying the regular price is paying 100% for the sunglasses. If we take off 25% from that, that means that we will pay 75% of the regular price for the sunglasses. So 75% of the regular price. And we want to write an expression that means 75% of the regular price. The word of always means multiply, so we know we're going to be multiplying something. Before we put the 75% into our expression, we're going to change it to a decimal by moving the decimal point 2 places left. Remember, when you move the decimal, you have to start where the decimal is. Well, in 75%, the decimal is right here. So when we move it 2 places left, we end up with 0.75. So we're going to multiply 0.75 times the regular price, and the regular price is P. So we could write 0.75 times P, or we could write 0.75 P. So let's talk about some common mistakes that you may have made on example 10. Okay, so these are common mistakes, not the right answer. Okay, you may have written something like 0.25 P. This means 25% off, or this means 25% of the regular price. Well, what we're paying is not 25% of the regular price. 25% of the regular price is what we are taking off. So this is the discount. Okay. Another thing you may have done is done 75p. Okay, this would mean paying 75 times the regular price. And the problem with this is that the decimal point is in the wrong place. Or another possible answer is you might have wrote 1 minus 0.25. Here we are saying take off 20, I'm sorry, not 1 minus, P minus. Here we are saying take 25 cents off the regular price. So that would be incorrect because we don't want to take off 25 cents. We want to take off 25% of the regular price. So we could just make just a small change to this answer to make it correct. We could multiply the 0.25, the 25%, times P, and say that we are going to take the regular price and take off 25% of the regular price. So either of these answers would be correct answers for example number 10. Flip your paper over and we'll look at the example for number 20. This example has fractions in front of the parentheses, but this does not change our process. We are still going to distribute. Very first thing. In the first set of parentheses, we are going to distribute the 1/4 through the parentheses. And in the second set of parentheses, we're going to distribute the -3/4 through the parentheses. So now we're going to multiply 1/4 times 8. So, and in class I showed you how to do this on the calculator. I'm just going to go ahead and multiply it out by hand here on the video in case you'd like to see that process. So 1/4 times 8. We need to put the 8 over 1. 1 times 8 is 8. 4 divided by 1 is 4. Now we need to simplify 8 over 4. 8 divided by 4 is 2. So this is going to be 2, and we need to bring the a down into our answer. Now 1/4 times -2. Well, we know our answer is going to be negative because a positive times a negative is a negative. So 1/4 times 2. 1 times 2 is 2. 4 times 1 is 4. 2 over 4 simplifies to 1/2. So -1/2, and we need to bring a b down into the second term. 1/4 times 12. 1 times 12 is 12. 4 times 1 is 4. Simplify the improper fraction by dividing 12 by 4. 12 divided by 4 is 3, plus 3c. Now for the second set of parentheses. -3/4 times 1a. When we multiply anything by 1, we get that same number. So negative 3/4 times 1a is just negative 3/4 a. Negative 3/4 times positive 4b. Our answer will be negative. Now let's multiply 3/4 times 4. 3 times 4 is 12. 4 times 1 is 4. 12 divided by 4 is 3. So we write minus 3b. Now for our last one, we are multiplying a negative times a negative. So we are going to get a positive answer. 3/4 times 8. 3 times 8, 24. 4 times 1, 4. 24 divided by 4 is 6. So plus 6. Now, just like in our first example or our second example problem, we need to combine like terms. And the first thing we'll do before we combine like terms is to rewrite the problem so that the like terms are next to each other. So we have 2a minus 3 over 4a. We have negative 1/2 b minus 3b. And then we have plus 3c and plus 6. They do not have any like terms to go with them. So now let's subtract 2 minus 3/4. And again, I'll show you how to do this by hand in case you don't have a calculator handy. So we're going to do 2 minus 3/4. We have to have a common denominator before we can subtract. So the common denominator would be 4. So now we need to find an equivalent fraction to 2 over 1 that has a denominator of 4. Well, 1 times 4 is 4, and 2 times 4 is 8. So our equivalent fraction would be 8 over 4. This denominator did not change, so this numerator is not going to change. Now we subtract. The numerator's 8 minus 3 is 5, and the denominator stays the same. So that's going to give us 5 over 4a when we combine the a's. Now we're going to combine the b's. Negative 1/2 minus 3, which is like saying negative 1/2 plus negative 3. So we know that our answer is going to be negative because we have some negatives and we're adding more negatives to it. So let's do 1/2 plus 3. Again, we have to have a common denominator. Our common denominator would be 2. In the first fraction, our denominator did not change, so our numerator is also going to stay the same. In the second fraction, the denominator was multiplied by 2. 1 times 2 is 2, so 3 times 2 is 6. Now we add the numerators. 1 plus 6 is 7, and the denominator stays the same. So we would get minus 7 over 2b. Then we bring down the 3c and the plus 6. So this was our combining like terms step. Now, since there are no more like terms, we are finished. Let me just change this lighting a bit. Oh, maybe I can just move my paper. Okay, let's look at the example for number 17. Kara works as a sales clerk at Macy's. She earns $15.50 an hour plus a bonus of 3.5% on each sale she makes. Write an equation that represents T, her total earnings, when she works H hours and makes a total of S sales. So they ask us to write an equation. We know that we must have an equal sign. On the left side of the equation, we're going to put our total. which is the total earnings. So her earnings are made up of two things. They are made up of $15.50 for each hour plus 3.5% for each sale. Okay, so bells should be going off because we have a percent here. Before we do anything else, we need to change that percent to a decimal. So we need to move the decimal point. Here's the decimal point. We need to move the decimal point 2 places to the left. There's an empty decimal place here, so we'll fill that in with a 0. So that is 0.035. So she makes 3.5% on each sale. So we'll multiply the number of sales by 0.035. And that would be our equation. The most common mistake in this one was either not moving the decimal point at all or not moving it the correct number of places. Okay, our last example is simply a combining like terms. Okay, so first we need to identify our like terms. So we have x to the 4th, y, and then a negative 5x cubed that does not have a like term. So before we combine like terms, let's rewrite this equation so that the like terms are next to each other. There's the lonely negative 5x cubed. So now we want to combine negative 15x to the 4th plus 6x to the 4th. So let's add our coefficients. Negative 15 plus 6 is negative 9, and then we bring down the x to the 4th. Notice that the variable and the exponent both stay the same, only the coefficient changes. Now we're going to do 4y plus negative 6y, which will give us negative 2y. Now we bring down the negative 5x cubed. So that was our combining like terms step. Okay, if you're still struggling with correcting your test, make sure you make it into tutoring before block day next week.